something happened with the Turismo lobby and we were kicked from the session. We got halfway through the race. As you can see there, we've gone back up to 48 minutes. We've put a few extra minutes back on. But as it was, as you say, Fishers was leading, Stringy, Brandon was in third, and Lismo, Apex, Cyro were behind. Civi was the lead car in the GT3. He was being chased by Ninja. Jacob managing to get ahead of Gav then. He was behind before the lobby glitch, but he's now got back in front then. Tristan, Carl looking for a move then down the outside, or down the inside, sorry I should say, into that second chicane off the Musan, and he is through then, so he takes the place away from Tristan and Dragon on speed at the back of the pack. So 45 minutes have gone in the race. Unfortunately, we did have that glitch with the Gran Turismo servers. Effectively all the cars are back in the same positions. Unfortunately though, for drivers like Elliot and Civi, who has now been overtaken by Ninja, you can see there they're battling for position. Their gaps have been reduced. Oh wow, they're very close coming down that straight there. You can see Jacob in the background now then. As they come through, Civi stays in front then. You can see, oh, a very wide line from Jay there though. That will allow Jacob behind him to get ever closer. Oh, a car going around in the background there. That looks like it's Tristan. I think that is Tristan. He has gone round then. He has gone round and he has managed to get that car going again. However, he will take his position at the back. Remember, we did lose one driver in the original lobby. Liam opting to retire. Hearing he had some wheel problems. Which, as we were then at the front of both classes, Civi leads in the GT3 and Fishers leads in the LMP1. You can already see the gaps that are being formed. Stringy dropping 3 seconds behind Elliot. Brandon a further 2 seconds behind Ben. So that will be an interesting battle to keep an eye on then. The gap to the leader from Brandon is 5 seconds, as we can see. Elliot does have a penalty though, you can see there. That he does have a 1.5 second penalty that he will have to take by removing his foot from the throttle and slowing down. He goes faster in sector 2 then. What can Ben do? So it's been a bit of a reprieve for the likes of Ben in the NMP1, Brandon, as them three are fighting to take the lead of this race. Obviously Elliot flying at the front at the moment, but also it's really closed the gap in the GT3 cars. Although Civi has now pulled away by about 2.5 seconds, you can see. 2.6 seconds that gap between him and Ninja. Who will come out on top. We've still got 45 minutes there, so technically we've gone over halfway, but we've got what is effectively half of the race left. Remember, it's been an hour and a half endurance setting. We had a 15-minute qualifying session. are now in the back end of this race. Most of the drivers have fitted all the required compounds. Remember, they did have to run 2 separate compounds at least. So we see Civi starting to pull away a little bit further now. 3 seconds is that gap to the Penguin behind. What about the drivers behind us? Jacob having real problems. He dropped down now. Lost 5 seconds to both Gav and Kyle, so 10 seconds in fact to Gav. So we see here the blue car of Evil Hunter. Going faster, then coming through the nice tight right hander. Stringy has gone fastest in the race then. That 3 minutes 17 on the previous lap. As he's closed the gap then to a 1.5 seconds. Remember, Elliott did have that penalty, so he's got another 0.5 second penalty as well. So this could allow Ben through and really change the dynamic of this race. He was struggling to keep up with Elliott before, but it is all changed now. You see Brandon has got both of these two in his vision as they come through the second chicane off the Musan Straight. Second faster in that sector for Brandon. You see there those 3 lights indicating that he is third in the class. We've got a 10-second gap there to the background, which you can see is Nismo. He's also got another penalty then. Oh, a little bit of understeer there. Oh, he lost the rear end coming out of that corner. These LMP ones are very torquey. What about Cyro? 18 seconds behind, but he's got Apex all over the back of him. Go on, Apex. Oh, he's gone round the outside and he's mucked that up completely. He will lose quite a lot of time there then. He's got a gap of a minute to the lead GT3 car, which is Civi, as you can see there. Car. You see there the gap hovering around the 1.5 second mark. Then the slipstream on this long straight keeps Jay to the back of Civi. Lovely camera angle there as the car goes past. Come down now, these two dropping the back, well, dropping back is Gav. You can see there 7 seconds now. He currently occupies 3rd place in the GT3 class. Cameraman there enjoying himself on the left hand side. Really gives you a chance to put the foot to the floor these straights. Got to be careful though. You can see there the sort of a bump up and down. Don't feel it too much when you're in the car, but it does obviously provide some sort of challenge. You can see there in the distance was the lead 2 cars of Ninja and Civi. As we jump back up now to the front of the race. That gap down below 1 second then, so Ben is in the slipstream. of Elliott. There you go. It's back out to 1.6 seconds now though. So it's sort of a bit of nip and tuck between the Brandon's getting closer all the time. What's the gap now? So it's 1.7 in that sector. Closing down, you can see they're really pushing these cars. Ben's given a penalty though, so that will be interesting. He's dropped Brandon through that sector. Brandon's got 5-6 seconds worth of penalties. And he's lost the rear end on the exit of that corner. That's going to cost him dealing. And I think that will mean Elliott and Ben can now pull away. So Ben has 2 tenths left. Oh, there's a penalty there for Elliott as well though. Just under a second, 9 tenths for him. Coming through the Corvette curves now to start lap 5 of the restart. As Elliott pulls to the side then to serve his penalty. Brandon pits. So he comes in for another stop, and there's another crew in the background there you can see. Looks like it could be Cyro. So what does Brandon do? He's on the super soft tyres right now. And he goes a set of super softs. We saw another pit crew out there, but I don't think anyone else is going to be pitting. But I wonder whether Cyro, I mean it looked like based on the cars, as Apex is all over the back of his car. Oh, and Apex is going to make a move here. Oh, he's bashed into the back of Cyro there. This is probably one of the closest battles on the track as it stands, as Brandon sets the fastest lap of the race a few laps ago. We can see that that's changed. It's now 3 minutes 16.745. What can Apex do as he chases down Cyro? Runs very wide though on that exit there. You hear the roar of the engines around those corners. Coming up now towards the first chicane off the Mulsanne Straight, and Apex has been given a half-a-second penalty. What about the front of this race then? Oh, look at that gap, it's gone right the way down. It's just 5/10 of a second, a little bit wide there from Ben, but he's all over the back of Elliott. So ride on board with them for a little bit just to see. I think that's Tristan there. You can see that they are coming to the lap. Will we see a change of lead? We've seen it before when the cars have been overtaken in the pit lane, but we have not seen a lead move overtake on track yet. They've now dropped Brandon by quite a heavy margin. You can see he's down in 4th place after that stop, but he's about to overtake Nismo by the looks of things. Once he serves that penalty, you can see there Nismo's got 7/10. Stringy's dropped a second back now though, so Elliott once again managing to find time through those Porsche curves. and he has now pulled 2 seconds through that last sector. As he starts what is lap 6 for him in this session. Delightful bit of racing on the Saturday. Oh, as we see a fight there between Jacob and Kyle. Sees Kyle go really wide. Jacob makes a move down the inside using those blue flags to his advantage. So he takes P4 in the GT3 class. Civi leads by 5 seconds then. That gap again never increasing down the straight. So you can see there Ninja having to back off, serve his penalty, but he can get on the throttle now. He's lost about 2 seconds in from that little slowdown there. He's about to get lapped by one of the LMP1 cars. You can see in the background there. There is Elliot going through. How close is Ben? He's got a 1.2 second penalty, so he's 3.5 seconds back, and it'll be even more once he serves that penalty. This is the thing with the penalty system here on Gran Turismo. It can be very, very cruel, because it's not like normal games where it adds to your race time or you serve it in the pits. You have to serve it by coming off the throttle. On a track like this, where it's long straights, it really does cost you a lot more. We see them coming up onto the lead GT3 car. You see Elliot's already past Civi. Ben's just about to go through now. You'd expect, there you go, pulls to the left hand side, and he has gone through, but he's lost quite a lot of time too. Elliot, 3.6 seconds is that gap. They've got half a minute on Brandon, who's got through past Nismo's, get pulled away by 6 seconds. Nismo going very wide there. You can see, oh, what's happened there? Nismo going very, very wide, costing him as again he goes wide. So not a good sequence of corners for him there. He's still got quite a big gap to Apex though, 40 seconds. That is. What about the other GT3 drivers? This is the closest download in their track. Carl's once again got past Jacob. Who's going to come up out? Who's going to come out on top in this battle as we're into the second half? Into the last half an hour of this race. Then Elliot pitting from the lead. He's got 19 seconds to Ben in front. He's got 2.5 second penalty as well to serve. It's really coming down to the crunch stage now. See, there is what was the leader for the LMP class, and behind him is the leader of the GT3s, just constantly pulling away from his competition. He had about half a minute gap in the previous lobby before that glitched. He's now got 10 seconds on his closest rival. What about Gab in P3? He's trundling. He's closing up to Jay in his blue Mercedes. You see there, he's got about half a tank's worth of fuel. still to use. Won't need to pit for a few laps, you wouldn't imagine. What about Gav? What's his fuel level like? You can see there, he's got a little bit less than the car he's chasing down. As Gav is given a second penalty then. Closing onto the back of Ninja's just 3/10, but that slipstream working magnificent for him there. As Nismo's closing up as well, so these two are going to get laps. Nismo goes very, very wide. Remember, it is strict corner cutting setting here, so I wouldn't be surprised. There you go, that half a second time penalty for the LMP1 driver. Gav's still yet to serve that second penalty, you can see. Oh, so both looked out of shape coming through that corner there. What about Jacob? He's got back past Carl once again, but that gap just 2/10. Will Kyle be able to make a move then? So we once again check the fuel. Carl's got a little bit more left in the tank. Gets into the slipstream. But he's not close enough yet. Oh, Jacob's given half a second of penalties then, so that will surely relegate him down to 11th. It's just when he takes that penalty, he comes off the throttle on the corner. You can see needs to save another 3/10. But you don't want to let the car behind you gain the most out of it. So Carl trying to use that slipstream then. Still not able to make a move yet. There we go, a little bit wide from Jacob on the exit there of the Porsche curve. Carl sticking closely to his rear spoiler to come up to the Corvette curve. So Jay pits then, so second place in the GT3 class, dives into the pit lane. He's on these soft tyres then. Will he put those super softs on, you wonder? How much fuel does he go for as well? See there, he's gone for a full tank of fuel. Kyle's into the pit, so we are talking about the little battle they had there, but Kyle's coming into the pits as well, so he's coming just after his teammate. Tristan is also in then. You see there, he's got, which I remember he did spin on the restart about lap 2. Cyro also in, so the sort of provisional pit stops. Ben has a 20-second lead at the front of this race. He's yet to pit though. Again, Fishers has got a 2-second time penalty, so this could make it interesting as to when both Ben comes in and when he comes out as well, because Elliot will have to back off the throttle to serve that 2-second penalty, but also need to catch Ben, so it goes purple in sector then. but Ben stays out again, going round now. Starting lap 9. I think on the lead Civi car for GT3 has only done 7 here. You can see that he's on lap 7. So Stringy is on lap 9. Got a 10-second gap to Gavlar. We see the gap starting to form now. As we see, another 8/10 added to the penalties for Elliott. This could be crucial. You can see though he's getting that gap down to Ben, but he still has to serve that penalty. So all the good work that he could have done could be undone effectively when Ben decides to speak. You can see there he has got red fuel. I assume he'll be coming in either this lap or next lap. You can see it as well, the tyres struggling on the front left in particular, as always seems to be the case around this track. We're coming around to the sort of the second half of this course, on board with Ben, who leads LMP1. And speaking of leaders, Civi comes into the pit lane then, so the lead car in the second GT class comes into the pit lane. Lovely animation as the wheels go on and the fuel pump comes on. Fueling that car up possibly till the end. We've got just 20 minutes left then. Who else is in? That's Gavlar in, that's Jacob in. As the Penguin comes through. Oh, and they're side by side then. And Jay gets the lead of the GT class by the minimalist of margins. He pit a couple of laps ago, if you remember. I think he pit on lap 7. He's come out just in front of Civi, the undercut working there, but remember Civi will have a lot more fuel. Hello guy, you're in my camera view. Civi there chasing down Jay. Then will he be able to make a move down this long straight slipstream, crucial for these cars? You can see Jay going 160 but 170 for Civi, so he's gained. You can see there he was going at 9 or 10 miles an hour from that slipstream, and he is now through Cyro, the lead, the back marker, sorry, in the cars for the LMP1s. But this battle continuing once more. Kyle is in front of Jacob, but Jacob goes down the inside then into the chicane. Forces car a little bit wide, but he is through and past the car. Will Carr be able to make a move back? Then he pulls to the right hand side. It's going to be the outside line though for the chicane if he does get it done. I don't think he will. Is he going to look for the switchback on the exit? We shall see as they come through the second chicane of the Mulsanne curve now. He looked to use the slipstream then. Jacob at 130 miles an hour. Carl already, you can see there, 145. But they're travelling roughly the same speeds then, so not as strong out of that corner as in other parts of the circuit. through now. Still Kyle all over there. As we've seen then, in the meantime, while watching that battle, Stringy has pit. I said he would, and like you said, Fishers has taken the lead once more, though he does have a second time penalty, 1.2 to be exact. As we come under 20 minutes remaining in this race. See there just how big a gap he's got. There's Ben in the background. That's roughly 5 seconds. You can see there on the left 4.5. It's going down now as Fishers serves some of his time penalty, so he backs off the throttle to do that. The cap down to 3.6 now then. Been a really intriguing battle from these two. Elliot on pole, remember. Oh, it's Ninja Civi on the left there. You can see their names are trading places, and Civi has got back past. So he's used that fresher tyres and more fuel to regain the lead in the second class. Is he going to be able to pull away now is the question. 16 minutes to go. Oh, Civi's given half a second penalty though, so that will be interesting when he serves that. Is he going to serve it here? Gap under a second. Three seconds now, the penalty for Civi. So you've just seen him go from having half a second to 3 seconds in the space of a few corners. So that would give Jay the lead of this race once more. Remember, it's only the lead of the class 2. 2 different classes running in this race. When's Civi going to serve that? You can see in the background there, Gavlar now within 10 seconds of this battle. He's got further 12 seconds on Jacob and Kyle, who are still going toe to toe, or even wheel to wheel I should say. Is Kyle going to get down the inside? Possibly a bit too far back. As Brandon's disconnected from the session, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but Brandon has left the session. Oh, there we go, he's come back now, so bit of a connectivity issue there with Brandon means he is no longer in this race. Apex in the pits. Comes back out just ahead of Cairo then. As we see, I think Stringy Fishers has got another half a second time penalty. Oh, it's getting very close at the front of this race. You can see this is the battle for the overall lead then. We've got just under 15 minutes to the final next, about 3 more laps probably. Remember that in these endurance races it's the lead car starts the final lap, If the timer runs out while they're on a lap, then the end of that lap will be the end of the race. So Ben has got a 10-second penalty, and Elliot has 3/10 as we go back down to then. So there you go, Civi is taking his penalty, slowing right down to let Jay through, who takes the lead of Class 2. Oh, is that a car going right? No, Civi! Oh, Civi. So Civi had just slowed down to let his time penalty slow down, and he's lost it at turn 1 now. Put Gav up into P2. You can see there goes Gav. It's dropped Civi right down the order then. Not what he wanted after serving that penalty. As we go to the front of the race, and another second penalty for Elliot. The pressure from Ben really seems to be getting to him. Ben looks to go down the inside, then into, and they almost touch. What's the fuel consumption like? Ben's got slightly more fuel there. You can see on the left that he's got slightly better tyres, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him take the lead of this race coming down this straight then. Oh, it's a very sharp left from Elliot there. Stops Ben from their borderline aggression from the lead driver there. But Elliot still has to serve that 8/10 penalty. Is he going to serve it now? You can see he's lost a 10th off of that. This is the battle for the lead you are watching as RRC takes on Le Mans. We've been racing for almost an hour and 20 minutes as we're about to enter the final 10 minutes of the race, and Elliot's gone wide. So Elliot has gone wide, he is in the wall, he has lost it at that turn. You saw him fighting with Ben, and he has gone drama as Ben, you can see there, slows down to let Elliot back through. Good sportsmanship from Ben. Now I think there must have been a little bit of contact from him into the back of the lead car, pushed him slightly wide, but you can see there he lets him back through. Very, very good sportsmanship there from the two drivers. They've got a gap though to Nismo of 2 minutes now, so who will take the win from these two drivers? It is a straight battle to the finish. We've got 10 minutes left. We've got about 3 laps left. Elliot started on pole position and was in first when we restarted. Ben's been close behind all this time. The restart really helping him though to close those gaps, meaning he's now just a few tenths behind rather than half a minute behind. Come up towards the Dunlop curve now. We'll jump off this quickly as we see the GT3 cars there. Ninja Van Green has a 13-second lead over Gav, who's got a further 2-second gap between him and Civi. Remember, Civi was leading, took his penalty and then spun it at turn 1, so really struggling. Jacob has struggled to keep pace with Carl. He is now 7th, but he's got almost a minute to Dragon and Tristan at the back of this race then. But what about back at the front? The battle's still going on between these two drivers. they both have penalties, but Fisher's sorry, is given a larger penalty. There you go. Stringy makes a move around the outside, and there's almost contact between the two. And Ben goes really, really wide. Oh, Ben spun it! Ben has spun. He has lost a lot of time to Elliott there once again, just like previous lap when he was tapped off and Ben slowed down for him. He has knocked Ben. Oh, as they almost touch again. Really, really sharp defensive driving from Elliott there. But Ben now takes the lead of this race here. For the first time we have seen an overtake not in the pit lane for the lead of this race. It's now down to Elliott to catch Ben with just 7 minutes to go. We've been racing for about an hour and 35 minutes now. I have done about 30 odd laps of this home of Le Mans circuit. As Ben's given half a second penalty though, so he will have to slow down, and that should let Fisher's through. When's he going to choose to serve that penalty? When's he going to back off the throttle? Usually it's at the pit straight, as we see there. The gap a GT3 is 13 seconds. Gap's really starting to show now then. This is the battle on track as Ben slows down, serves it there. You can see Elliott getting all over the back of his Porsche gearbox. They're almost touching as they come through the Porsche curves. Into the Corvette curves they come. Stringy has now served his penalty, and he will start lap 14. We've got 6 minutes and 17 seconds left. You can see in the bottom left we're racing for 43 minutes and 48 seconds. This is it. Brandon set the fastest lap of the race, that 3 minute 15.886. He did have connectivity issues, which is why he's not. Okay, Elliott dives down the inside then. He forces Ben off the track once again. So tried to dive down the inside at turn 1. Got it all wrong, pushed Ben off the track. You can see these two drivers really pushing those cars to the limits. The tyre wear on the left hand side of the MFD at the bottom there just goes to show how much. I think Elliott though has used a lot more fuel than Ben, so how's he going to play these last few minutes? Feels like I've been here a lifetime. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. As Elliott's given a 3-second penalty, that could be devastating. He's got this move though. Oh, and he's touched. Oh no! It's almost a calamity. They've been at each other the entire race, and you could see it earlier with some of the defensive moves that Elliott was making, and they've touched there down the Mulsanne straight. Luckily, neither of them have had a lot of damage, but they've both been given penalties. What was going on there? It looks like Elliott was coming on the outside, trying to cut across the front of Ben's Porsche, and just put them both in the wall. Still going though, not because they've still got, like I said, that 2 minute lead over Nismo, who is 17 seconds ahead of Cyro. Apex struggling at the back of that pack. Ninja now leads, but I think as Civi's dropped back again. So Civi has dropped back from 3rd in the class to the back now. Fisher's is through on Stringy. We're almost at the end of this race, and it's nip and tuck between Ben and Elliott. Who's going to take the honours? As Stringy gets back through then. we go. We are almost at the end of what has been a chaotic race. These two, though, from start to finish, have been the standouts in the LMP1 class. We have had a lot more drama in the GT3 class, though. Cibi was leading heavily before the restart of the lobby. On the restart, him and Ninja were fighting heavily for position. Before Cibi served the penalty, spun it at turn 1. Jay's just been able to fly away with this now. 15 seconds he's got over Gav, who's then got 17 seconds on Kyle, and Jacob's a further 2 seconds back on him. Cibi trying to fight his way back. Dragon's Speed and Tristan just sort of been in a race of their own. Tristan spun, remember, on the restart of the session. As there is now a 1.7 second gap between the two cars at the front. Is this the gap that Ben was hoping for? In 2 minutes and 18 seconds we will know. It's a penalty though for Stringy, 1.5 seconds. So that eliminates the advantage he'd gained through sector 1. Elliot though is also given a penalty. You can see there he's got just why have you done that? He's got 9/10 of a second. We have less than a minute and a half of this race, and I think the time is going to run out before these two get to the line. So it's all about who will be on top once they've served their penalties. This really is going to be a climatic finish. As they get past Apex's car there, so they've lapped Apex now. Stringy still has 1.4 seconds to serve. Fishers has 0.9. Tristan getting out of the way of these two drivers. We're down below a minute. This is it. This is crunch time here at the inaugural race of RRC Does Le Mans. 15 laps have been raced in this session. About 17 laps in the previous one. We've been racing for about an hour and a half. Maybe even more, and we're into the last 30 seconds where Stringy leads Fishers by a second. 1.2 to be exact. You can see they're only starting to pull away now, but they've both got time penalties. 1.3 for Stringy and a second for Elliot. So who is going to blink first and serve part of their penalty? As we've got just 15 seconds left. 14, 13, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It's the last 5 seconds now in this race. Stringy leads by 1.5 seconds as we approach the final lap. That's it. Time is now up. This is the final lap. Stringy leads by 3 seconds. As Elliot goes round the outside. As Stringy was serving his penalty, Elliot goes round the outside to try and take the win. He's got through. They're coming through the Porsche curves now, down towards the Corvette curves. It's nip and tuck. The gap is just 0.2 of a second. Here we go then into the first of the left-right chicanes at Corvette. And Stringy looks like he's let Elliot get just too far away. Who will win? As Fishers crosses the line in first, and Stringy just behind. Elliot wins here at Le Mans. What a race. You can see there he managed to serve his penalty before the line, and he wins by 0.6 of a second. We wait now for the drivers across the Apex there, the first car to be lapped. What a race for Nismo. He will, by the looks of things, come across in third place. Brandon was running in third before some problems for him means he left the session. He was unable to complete the race. As he's coming down the back straight now, he backs off to let it go there. We still await the first car in the GT3 to come past. Dragon and Tristan obviously lapped, so they have finished, but it just waited on Ninja Penguino to complete his lap. He's about halfway around the track now. He, by the looks of things, will take first place in the GT3 class. It was going oh so well for Civi until he had that spin, sent him back 3 or 4 places, and then time penalties have cost him as well. He now will sit at the back of the GT3 pack. Nismo coming down through now with Gavlar. Nismo then, not too long till he comes and completes his lap. He's coming through the Porsche curves now. A little bit of a understeer kick. As Ninja Penguino comes through Corvette curves to take the GT3 class victory. What a race from Jay. He was struggling to keep up with Civi until he spun, as I've mentioned, and he takes the victory spoils in the GT3 class. Here comes Nismo then, a very solid 3rd place for him. He comes through the final corner, drives to the line, and there you have it. That is your podium. Gavlar will come across in P2. Very good race. He's a big lover of his sim racing, is Gavlar. He'll be pleased with that. Cyro comes across in 4th place. Apex rounds out the LMP1, so we still await the rest. Evil Hunter Kyle takes 3rd place. Jacob comes in 9th, and Civi finishes in 10th. And there we have it then. That is over. That is it. We have been racing for about an hour and 40 minutes, and it's ended up with Elliot winning the RRC Does Le Mans Invitational. He beat Stringy by what was 6/10, but they were nip and tuck all race. They even had that crash down this straight into the barrier. Luckily, they both managed to keep going. Nismo takes 3rd place. Brandon was running very strongly. Would have probably finished in 3rd had he not had some issues and been unable to complete the race. Shouts out to Cyro and Apex, not involved in the race very much, I should say. But they've still done well to come through in 4th and 5th. That's an hour, as I said, 40 minutes or so. And then your top 3 was Ninja, Gavlar and Kyle for GT3. And there it is. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can see there is the final. Oh shit.